Just finished yesterday, Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. This book was awesome. So, little mass market copy I picked up at a thrift store. This is actually Lonesome Dove, originally published in 1985. This copy is from 1986, so a pretty early edition. And this one is 900 something pages. It's a long book, 945 pages. So I've obviously heard about this book a lot, and eventually it popped up at a thrift store. I get a lot of my books from thrift stores, so I picked it up for $1 or $2. It sat on my shelf for a little while. I knew I was going to read it, just didn't know when. I enjoy big books, but once you start reading one of these, it takes a while. This one did take me quite a while to read, and yeah, finally decided it was time, because I have heard nothing but good things about this book. I'm sure it's out there, but I don't think I've heard anyone say anything bad about this book. So it is a Western. I typically don't seek out Westerns, but I have read like All the Pretty Horses and the Border trilogy from Cormac McCarthy. So I have some experience with it, but just not much. But it doesn't matter. You don't have to like Westerns to enjoy this book. Yeah, so most of you guys probably already know, even if you haven't read it, just so many people talk about this book. But I'll talk about the plot a little bit. You got these two kind of retired Texas Rangers, just like living on a ranch. They've been doing it for about 10 years or so. So their action and adventure part of their life is pretty much done with, and they're just chilling. And they got a crew of people that live with them, and they all work. And an old friend that they haven't seen for about 10 years, who originally was in their crew, stopped by out of nowhere, and he starts talking about Montana. These guys are residing in Lonesome Dove in Texas, and their friend is talking about Montana and how great it is. And eventually, they decide to do a cattle drive from Texas to Montana, which is insane, because just imagine how long it would be to drive, let alone bring thousands of cattle. It's just wild. So, talk about the characters a little bit, and that's basically the book. It's the adventure from going from Texas to Montana. A whole bunch of crazy stuff happens in between, obviously. It's epic. So for the characters, the two main characters are Augustus, goes by Gus for short, and Call. In my mind, when I was reading the book, I just called him Cal, but I know it's pronounced Call. But I'll try to say it properly. But in my mind, when I was reading it, I just picked Cal. They're completely different from each other, but they're like best friends. Augustus is very outgoing, talkative. He's enjoying life. He wants to have fun. He's always talking. Call is very quiet. He likes to be by himself, and he is a workaholic. He just works. They're both technically leaders in this group of people, but Call is technically the leader. He goes by Captain Call as well. Some people just call him Captain. And he is the one that actually wants to do the cattle drive once their friend mentions Montana and all that. And Augustus kind of, even though you would think he'd be the more adventurous one because he's more outgoing, he kind of doesn't want to do it. But if Call wants to do it, he does it. So they gather the people they have, they hire some other people, and they go for the drive. And that's basically what the book is about. The characters in this book are just like done so well. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I feel like this could have actually happened. I feel like these people could have actually existed. And the way that the banter is, guys just busting balls and like just the banter and stuff like that, especially with Gus, it just seemed so real. It didn't feel forced or anything. Like, it felt like I was just like, I don't know, sitting next to these guys as well. And yeah, the characters are really, really good in this. I think there are a bunch of other characters. Those are just the two main ones. Another main one would be Lorena, who is a prostitute from Lonesome Dove's town, like small town. There is like a saloon called the Dry Bean. So in this town, that's like the main hangout spot, and that's where she resides. And yeah, but there are other characters. I think one of my favorite characters, I think most people would say Gus, but if you eliminate Gus, because that's the obvious answer, I think Dietz was my favorite character. Yeah, so The book starts slow. It's a big, big book, but it needs that because it needs to explain all the characters, how they are, their past, their history, and all that. So the first, I want to say like 250 or so pages in this book is just them in the town of Lonesome Dove and little drama and just learning about all the characters. And I think you need that because it makes you care about the characters once they go on this drive. But if you're someone that needs like action, action, action nonstop for a book, or you get bored, you probably won't get too far in this because the first, like I said, 250 or so pages, at least in this edition, was very slow. I don't mind that kind of stuff. I like it. It makes you care about the characters, you can learn about them and all that. But I know some people don't like that. Even though I thought this book was really great, wouldn't necessarily recommend it to everyone because some people don't like a slow build and all that kind of thing, especially these days. But I loved it. One thing too I want to mention is like the animals in this story. Like I just got a kick out of it. Like Gus has these two giant pigs that just kind of hang out with him on like the porch when he's just chilling, drinking and stuff, just relaxing. He's got these two pigs. They kind of just like go around eating lizards and stuff like that. And they could eat these pigs. Everyone knows they could eat them, but Gus wants to keep the pigs. They're his pigs and he keeps them alive, and they just like chill out on the porch with him. And I just thought that was just so cool. And then when they do the drive, they bring the pigs with. And I'm like, oh, okay, they're going to bring the pigs with and they'll eat them. And they don't. The pigs go on the drive with them. And they're not a big part of the story or anything, but like I felt like every 100 pages or so, they check in with the pigs, let you know that the pigs are still there and they're still making their way with them. And I don't know, it's just something small that I really liked. Also, there's a bull in the book that all the people hate except for Call. Captain Call wants to keep this bull. So on this drive, this bull kind of takes charge, and he's like the lead. He's like the lead animal. And he's very aggressive. So if people get too close to him, like they're afraid he'll charge. Like he'll charge at people. He doesn't want any of these cowboys getting near him. And a lot of the cowboys just like, we want to shoot this bull. This thing's going to hurt someone. Like they mentioned throughout the book how no one really likes this bull. But Captain Call, he's the leader. He makes the decision. It stays alive. And at one point in the book, the bull has an epic battle with another animal, and I'll just leave it at that. And I thought that was so cool. Also, another animal to mention too is Captain Call's horse. His name is Hellbitch, and it's a aggressive, crazy horse, but it's a really, really good horse. Like it doesn't tire, and people have tried to buy this horse off of the captain. He will not sell the horse, and so he basically has the best horse out of anyone. But the horse is crazy, so he knows how to deal with it, but maybe not everyone would be able to. So there's some animals like animal characters in the book I just thought were really cool. Of course, these cowboys are afraid of getting raided or attacked by Indians throughout the whole book. You do run into Indians in the book. They're mentioned a lot, like almost like this like urban legend or something, but you do actually get to see them, and there's going to be some fight scenes and all that kind of thing. So for as slow as this book is at the start, like throughout the book, there is a lot of action and a lot of stuff that happens, and this thing is just epic. When I got to like probably the last 100 pages, but definitely like the last 50 pages, like I didn't want the book to end. I didn't want it to end at all. I kind of actually slowed down reading when I got like less than 100 pages because I was kind of savoring it because I was just enjoying this so much. I do believe there is a sequel, but I don't know if it was intended when they ended this, because this kind of ends, and if you know there's a sequel, you're like, oh, okay, I can see where the sequel's going, but then they kind of resolve it in this book at the very end. Yeah, there's a sequel and 2 prequels, I believe, so I'll definitely check those out at some point, probably not anytime soon, but because there's just so much stuff I need to read. But that is good, so I'm glad I can go back into this universe at some point if I want to. This is one of the top books that I've ever read. Now, I'm not like super well read. I think I've read like a little over 100 books or so, which, you know, to an average person is a lot, but to someone who like really reads, it's nothing. Like some people can read that in a year. But this, I would put this in like my top 5 as of right now. Like it was just epic. It was awesome. You don't have to like Westerns. The characters were just so good. The dialogue, the banter, it just felt real. The story felt real. The only thing I will say, which was probably the only negative thing I would say about this, is especially towards the middle and end of the book, characters run into each other very conveniently. Like, really? They happen to both be there at the same time type thing. But it was necessary for the story and all that, so I get it. And that's just me being nitpicky at this point, just trying to find something to not like, you know? But yeah, some people just run into each other too conveniently. The first huge chunk of the book, you're just following the crew from Lonesome Dove, and I thought the whole story was just going to be following them. But at another point, like, I don't know, a few hundred pages into the book or something like that, you start getting POVs from different characters who connect with the main set of characters, but they're located somewhere else. And then you get like another POV, and then some POVs no longer exist. It kind of threw me off. I was like, oh, okay, cool. But then once the book started getting to that point where you started following other POVs, that's when I thought it started getting good. That's when it started to pick up. But yeah, this book was just, I don't know, I could talk on about it for a while. It's just hard to talk about it without giving, many spoilers or anything like that. But if you were debating reading this, putting it off like I was for a little while, I would just do it, man. This book was awesome. I'm so glad I read it. Like I said, it is long and the beginning is slow, but I enjoy the slow part because the dialogue is just so good. But yeah, what a great book, man. What a great book. Lonesome Dove, Larry McMurtry.